Kita ngobrol di PR.
Halo Sobat PR, apa kabar nih? Sudah lama kita nggak ketemu. Ini pertemuan pertama nih tahun 2024. Dan saat ini kita kehadiran tamu yang spesial. Beliau adalah Dubes Ukraina untuk Indonesia, Mr. Vasyl Hamianin. Right? Oke.
Betul.
Beliau tuh kesini datang. Di samping saya juga ada teman kita, beliau Huminca Sinaga, kita panggil Ica. Beliau adalah redaktur luar negeri untuk di Pikiran Rakyat. Kebetulan hari ini tuh ada acara di Gedung Merdeka, Menteri Luar Negeri berbicara tentang pernyataan tahunan Indonesia terhadap sikap Indonesia terhadap isu-isu luar negeri. Ada beberapa hal tadi BC yang dibahas, dan yang menariknya ada satu hal tuh yang tidak dibahas. Ada satu hal yang tidak dimention oleh Bu Retno, makanya kita manggil nih yang tidak dibahas itu ke sini. Mr. Vasyl. So, Mr. Vasyl, I believe you attend to the agenda with Menlu Retno, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then
yes.
there's something she's not mentioned in her speech today. It's about Ukraine. How come? How do you feel?
It's a good question. Pertama-tama saya mohon maaf saya tak bisa berbahasa Indonesia, so I will be speaking English if you allow me. So yeah, there was a very interesting event, and I was looking forward for it because it just once a year, and Bu Retno was reporting her like all the work done in 9 years. So there was a very important event. First time it took place in Gedung Merdeka. First time, and it was very symbolic because it's like I think that the idea was to underline the peculiarity of Indonesian foreign policy. That's my feeling. I don't know, because like neutrality, non-aligned, etc. So I really expected, or rather better to say, I hoped that Ukraine will be mentioned. And not just Ukraine, but the aggressive war against Ukraine that has been advancing for nearly 2 years. If we don't mention the first attack in 2014, so it's like 10 years of Russian aggression in my territory. But yeah, unfortunately, this was not mentioned. And how would I feel? I feel sad about that, because it hurts inside me, and the Ukraine is burning and Ukraine is bleeding, and despite what we were trying to do, we tried to draw attention of the world community to what's going on. It's the biggest war since the Second World War in Europe. So Europe hasn't experienced this since 1945. And despite all we experience now, we still manage to deliver a lot of food, a lot of grains to the world markets. We still provide a lot of support and help to the countries that need the grains. And like this is, so to say, grain initiative, grain from Ukraine.
Grain from Ukraine
will contribute a lot to that. So basically, this is a global part of very important global agenda. And I really expected, yes, that this will be mentioned, but for the reasons that I don't understand, it was not mentioned by Bu Retno. So what we are left to do, we just carry on doing our job as diplomats worldwide, trying to attract attention, because the idea of our diplomacy, global diplomacy of Ukraine now, is to make Russia stop.
To make Russia stop.
Just to stop this aggression, stop this war. And we are working on many mechanisms that prove to be efficient on this stage, right? But we really need the global players, global powers, to join these discussions, to join these efforts. So our idea, again, I repeat it, is to put the end of this aggression as soon as possible, with minimal just to minimize the casualties, to minimize the death toll, which now is hundreds of thousands of people.
Only
hundreds of thousands. It's not just
most of them is civilians.
Sorry?
Most of them is civilians.
No, I would say that most of them are militaries, and most of this figure, well, I don't know the statistics for Ukrainians, but for Russians it's over 350,000 of soldiers and officers killed in action. So it's only from the Russian parts, 350 or 60,000 killed.
Very.
Yeah, so
the soldier, not.
Russia is sending its people to this mincer, I would say. Just send them to die, and it's young people. They don't care about the people. It's not my concern, but my concern is my people.
Yeah.
We have we have tens of thousands of people killed, civilians and children and militaries, of course. We have millions of people displaced. Millions of people that lost their houses forever. So if we don't stop the war, who will? Yes. Who will? And Ukraine now is feeling very painful about every conflict and every war in every corner of the world. Whatever happens, where people die, where people suffer, this is very painful for us too, because we understand what it is.
Because we understand it. Because Ukraine is feeling to become a victim of the war. Yeah?
So we can imagine what the people feel in other places, in other corners of the world.
So how do the situation update in Ukraine right now?
The situation remains. I cannot answer you directly to this question because first, we are still the subject of massive bombardments. And they use all the weapons they have to attack Ukraine now. It's Rudal, it's different types of missiles. It's ballistic and it's cruise missiles. It's artillery, which hits the towns and cities close to the front line, like Kharkiv, a big one, like Kherson, like Dnipro, like Zaporizhia. But like for remote places, they use drones. Again, provided by Iran, Iranian regime, and they use missiles. So that's one aspect of it. And they still, like on the 2nd of January, 29th of January before the New Year, and 29th of December and 2nd of January, right? Yeah. They performed 2 huge, massive attacks on Ukraine. It's like, first time was like 170 drones and missiles mixed. Wow. And second time was like around 100 missiles also mixed. So that's how it feels, right? But from the other side, compared to the last year's winter, we are better protected because we received some number of air defense systems of different producers. Like it can be NASAMS, it can be IRIS-T, it can be Patriot, of course. So they can protect the civilians. The main purpose of those air defense systems that we receive from our partners and friends is to protect civilians, is to let them survive under the strikes. So we resist, we fight. That's what's going on. And the last year, as you know, there is no advancement in the front line. Not from our side, not from Russian side. We just stay on that line. And preparing to get through this winter. The winter is a challenging time for army and for the civilians too.
Because of the winter.
Because it could be very cold. And because it could be very, in general terms, very uncomfortable. And in winter time, in Ukraine, for example, unlike in Indonesia, we need heating. We need central heating. You need air conditioning all the time. We need heating.
And it's different from here.
If the electricity stops, we cannot find another way to heat ourselves.
Minus degrees, how much?
It could be, in bad times, it could be minus 30.
Minus 30?
Yes.
Degrees Celsius?
Now I think, it's minus 6, minus 7 in Kyiv, but on the south it's more, it's warmer, and the north and to the east it's colder, but it could be very, very cold. Could be very cold. The forecast is this week could be minus 20 and lower.
During winter last year, there were some casualties because of this shortage of the electricity.
In Russia?
Yeah,
In
in Ukraine last year. the
Oh,
winter.
last year, yes. Well, last year was pretty bad. I remember my family was still there. And,
Oh, your
and
family still there?
my family,
Your wife
last
and-
winter, my wife, my kids, my
Oh.
mother, all there. So last winter, last December, January, February, they were in Kiev and
Yeah.
outskirts, and this year too. But last year it was so bad because many how to say, electricity generating objects
Yes.
were destroyed,
Yeah.
and electricity distribution, like transformers,
It's
and some, were destroyed. So there were quite a long time when in Kiev, for example, in 24 hours round the clock they have just 2 hours of electricity. 2 hours.
2 hours.
So it means that
In one day, so only
22
2
hours you don't have electricity, you don't have water, you don't have heating, you don't have anything. And then 2 hours it switches on, and then people start charging the chargers,
Yeah, yeah.
mobile phones, and everything, like cooking something. And so people bought generators, people bought the little like stoves, you know, like I don't know how to say, like fire.
Oh,
you
I
know,
see.
You fire and
Yeah,
you cook something.
little
you
stove,
can-
yeah? Little
Yeah,
stove,
yeah,
yeah.
little stove.
During these 2 hours.
Yeah, no. This little stove is on gas, so you can
Yes.
cook anytime.
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah.
so it was scary and it was very uncomfortable and very dangerous. Many people suffered because when you like in the room, you have a temperature like
Yeah.
plus 10.
It's cold
long
also.
time, it's very cold. It's
But
very
winter this year is much better.
Is
because,
better
preparation.
because we are much
Better
better
protected.
protected.
I see.
Much
Yes,
better
it's
protected.
been 2 years.
So your family, your wife and your kids still in Ukraine. You're not worried? But
I'm worried, of course, but they are adults already. So
They know how to take.
yesterday was my son's birthday, 18 years old. So he's the last one who became adult. So they decide for themselves. I cannot decide
I
for them.
see.
They don't want to come. They want to stay home.
They don't want to come here.
No, they don't want to come for many reasons. One reason is really the weather is
Yeah.
complicated for them. They all like winter. And second main reason is they decided not to stay abroad. They decided to stay with the country, with the
I
people.
see. Jadi gini, teman-teman, tahun lalu tuh kita interview dengan anaknya beliau, namanya Farfara, perempuan. Dia sempat keluar dari Ukraina, terus ke Indonesia. Rencananya mau ke Beijing melanjutkan kuliahnya, tapi ternyata kita pengen tahu ceritanya nih. So how about Varvara? She's escaped from Ukraine and then she planned to study in Beijing. And how?
And then she decided not to go to Beijing. And then she decided to go back home. Though she was accepted, but say no, I will not go because I want to be with my people. And she changed the dream. Because I think the war has destroyed her dream to become actress or something.
Yeah.
So she say, I cannot act now. And she became a paramedic, like certified paramedic already. And now she's a student of medical university. So her dream now is to become the military medic. Military doctor. Yes.
Oh.
To save lives somewhere in, from people wounded or injured or something.
So
like
she's still in school, she's in college,
in
medical
the university.
First year,
Medical
yeah.
university.
First year.
Yeah,
So
in
will-
Ukraine.
Will be second year next.
Yeah. Just first year. Just started September, October, November, December, 4 months. Yeah. So people change.
Yeah, of course.
People change.
Yeah. And what do you think? Like the war is already 2 years this year, and in your opinion, what caused this war is difficult to be stopped?
It's 2 years.
your opinion, that's
More
all.
precisely, it's 10 years already because the first
2000
attack started
Oh,
10
the
years
first
ago. And that time the Crimea was
Yeah.
occupied and part of Donbass was occupied and around 15,000 Ukrainians were killed in the first attack.
15,000.
But then the massive full-scale aggression started 2 years ago. And it's actually, if we think about how to stop the war, there are only 2 ways to stop. Actually 3, but I don't believe in the third one. First one is that Russian dictator decides to stop. If he says stop, it will stop the same day and over. Yeah, then everything else. Second way is if the world community will persuade him or like impose a pressure on him to stop. But this will require the big players. And for example, China now is not willing to persuade Russia. China doesn't want to, right?
Even China stand to be a neutral.
I don't know what's China's position, but it doesn't seem that China is willing to press upon Russia to stop the war. China seems like to press upon the West to stop helping Ukraine or what, I don't know. Yeah. But I mean, it's just like that. And the third way is, I think it's very realistic, is that we must defeat Russia. And when it's like the coalition defeated Nazi Germany in 1945. That's how it works. Yeah. Otherwise, can you imagine persuading Hitler to stop fighting in 1943 or 1944? I cannot. Yeah. Being a historian a little bit, so I can imagine how can you persuade Hitler at that time? He's crazy. He's mad. Like, fighting, killing, and doesn't care, right? So his concentration camps didn't stop till the last days of the war. Yeah. So they never stopped killing and burning people and poisoning and things. So how can you persuade the maniac to stop? Look at him, like talking to the people. Look at Lavrov, like speaking like as if nothing happened and telling like we don't kill anyone, we don't attack anyone. How? So for those who believe they are right, for those who believe they are still humans, I mean Lavrov and Putin and all this team, if you still believe they are humans, one can go to Ukraine and have a look. Recently we have two delegations visited Ukraine. One is my good friend Desi Anwar. She has been reporting a lot about Ukraine. Yesterday it was a big interview made by her of the president of Ukraine and the first lady. Ukraina.
So she came to Ukraine?
Ukraine, yeah. Spent like 2 weeks, I think, or 10 days or something. So that was really good, and very good reports, exclusive. And second, there was a delegation of, we call it Masyarakat Sipil Indonesia. Yeah. So it's representatives of civil society. They stayed also like for 2 weeks or 10 days, something in Ukraine. And they came back and I read a lot in the media reporting. So if you don't believe, you have doubts, you can go there, visit and have a look what happens in reality. So when you hear the siren of air defense, like woo, it's scary. Yeah. But then when you start hearing the explosions and it's like here and you feel the building is like then it's very scary. So ask the people, they will tell you.
So how about support from leader from US and then European to Ukraine?
We still have support. Well, I would say this, it's never enough. In terms of military support and weapons, all this, it's never enough. Because I would say this, if it is enough, we could have finished Russia in few weeks or few months. Yeah. It will be finished. It will be over. The point is whether we have enough weapons. That's it. So weapons that we are asking for basically are used for two purposes. One purpose, the main purpose, is to protect the civilians. They have to be protected. The civilians, the lives, the residentials, and the infrastructure. So people can live normally. Yeah, they can have like normal or close to normal life. And second, the weapons that get like literally kick off the aggressor, kick them off my land. It's natural desire, right? So the occupied territory, natural desire of Ukrainians is to get out of my land, get out of my home. You occupied my home, you came to my home, you destroyed my home, you killed my relatives, right? Get out. That's it. So we still receive the support. And it's humanitarian aid, it's financial aid, and it's military aid, but it's not enough. Not enough to finish it. It's not enough to kill the beast. unfortunately. But yeah, we're working on this. We're working on this, and we pray and we hope that we'll have enough weapons to protect ourselves and to finish the war. That's the main point.
Yeah.
Finish this war.
We need a strong leader, maybe.
Absolutely, yes. We need strong leaders, I think, in not just in Ukraine. We need strong leaderships around Europe,
United Nations,
and the United States, and of course the United Nations. I think the very important point made by Buretno today is that United Nations require reform.
Information, of course. It's been like long time ago. Many voices, many countries also already voices that UN must be reformed, but until now, still, and the veto still belong to some 5 countries.
And one of these countries is an aggressor. Acting aggressor.
It's difficult. That's why,
how can you do that?
as long as it is not reformed, it will be difficult to.
Absolutely. Basically, well, again, as a historian, I will say this. You must remember the League of Nations, how they behaved after the First World War, and why the Second World War started just in no time. People still all remember the war. First World War was so crazy war, like oh my God. And then in no time, literally in no time, like what, 20 years or something? Bam, another war. So it's amazing, because one of the reasons is that League of Nations was useless.
League of Nations is useless.
And now after the war, they created the UN, and it was efficient for that time, but not for now. Not for now. So that requires reformation, and too many things has changed. Too many since then. Countries, like strong countries became very weak, and weak countries became very strong. Normal countries became aggressive, and aggressive countries became normal. Things changed. And the whole system has changed. Like you see this, I would say this, the imperialistic system has disappeared. The imperialism, colonialism has disappeared. So the only colonial imperialist country, really, the only one left is Russia. The last empire, I will call it. Because a lot of countries that used to be the colonial countries, like colonizing other regions and being very imperialistic, they changed dramatically. And instead of enslaving people and getting resources out of the colonies, now they receive refugees. They provide support. They provide technologies for the countries that used to be the colonies. For goodness sake! So we have to understand that things change. The world has changed.
But UN still.
UN still. Exactly. You remember that? From the Bible, if I'm not mistaken, right? If you take the old bag, and pour the new wine into the bag will explode and the wine will spill all over the place. You have to prepare a new bag for a new wine. So you can preserve it. In your opinion, why UN takes a long time? Since I was in the college, people already voiced that UN must be reformed. But now it's already many years. So in your opinion, what caused this stuck? The UN
doesn't do anything.
Inertia and bureaucracy. So, if the General Assembly, the countries, will really raise the voice, say, we must do something, we must reform it, then it will be done. I don't think that, 5 permanent members of the UN Security Council would say no, and the world say, okay, no, then no. No. I think that if all the world says no, then it will be no. And I don't think that it will be the UK or France or the United States who will resist it. So it should be done in a proper way. That's important. But you should start at least. Unless you start the discussion, the real discussion, because I know many people have different approaches toward how would the new United Nations look like, what it would be. the Security Council, the veto, blah, blah, blah. But you have to start from something, yeah? Do something. Start and let's have a look how it works. For example, there is no mechanism of overcoming veto. Now, Ukraine applied for the UN for the UN peacekeepers 11 times during the 8 years of the Crimean occupation. 11 times it was vetoed by Russia. Now, if there is a mechanism that can overcome the veto of Russia, then UN peacekeepers would have visited like Donbass, like Crimea and somewhere, and the situation could have become very different.
11 times, there's nothing to do, is that thing?
No. So no UN observers, no UN peacekeepers in the occupied territories. How? Yeah. So I think that the important is the first step.
Yeah,
You make the first step, then you know how to walk.
Follow, yeah.
If you don't even make the first step, how would you expect things to change? It never happens.
It's only in discussion and discussion, but never start to do anything.
You know this old joke in Ukrainian. So the guy was some praying, and they say, "God Almighty, why you never give me a chance to win in lottery? Why? I mean, I'm so good. I'm being obedient. I'm praying. I'm fasting." I say, and then God
The answer
answers him, "My son, at least you have to buy a lottery ticket,
So you can.
and then I will let you win. But you never buy ticket. How can you win?" Yeah. So that's means that you should do something, not just talk and expect things happen. Things don't happen like that.
So it's we have idiom in NATO, yeah. But in Indonesia, NATO means no actions, talk only. That's maybe UN like that.
Not actions, talk only.
No action, talk only.
You see, NATO has changed too, because before this big aggression, actually before 2014,
Yeah.
NATO was like dying. Because people complain, so why should we keep NATO? Who will start the war? Can you imagine? No need, no point,
anymore.
nothing. And then bam, and then now NATO is trying to revitalize, because they understand that if we can imagine that Russia defeat Ukraine, that the war will be in Europe in no time.
Spread to Europe.
It will be in the Russians
World
will,
War III, maybe.
yeah, will go to Atlantic.
Still
They will not
relevant.
stop.
Yeah.
And that will be a big disaster for Europe and for the world order. Because what they did, they triggered the evil processes in all the corners of the world.
As you said, like NATO is not expanding, but like as we see now, NATO is expanding. They try to get member from Turkey and Finland. Of course, they have to do their homework before they can accept it. But this expand of the NATO has caused resentment from Russia.
I don't think so. I don't think so, because first of all, people, when they discuss this, they have to understand one thing. First, whatever NATO was created against, like as a protection mechanism against the Soviet Union. Now there is no Soviet Union, for goodness sake, right? Why would Russia, which pretended to be a democratic country in those times, in 90s, why would Russia be aware of NATO? You know that in 90s, for those who don't know, that might be a big surprise, but for those who don't know, Russia was even discussing the NATO membership of Russia. And then NATO said no, maybe not this time. And the scale of cooperation between NATO and Russia was huge, was really huge. There were joint military exercises, exchanges, and NATO countries selling a lot of weapons to Russia.
Okay.
And don't forget that in 90s, Ukraine was forced to give up the nuclear weapons and all the carriers, like missiles X something, plus the these big aircrafts. We all gave it to Russia. We were forced to do it by the NATO countries. And now these missiles come back to us and kill the civilians in Ukraine. Those missiles we used to have in Ukraine, right? So why Russia can be concerned about NATO? before Russia attacked Ukraine in 2014, they were best friends and best partners with NATO. And then Russia attacked Ukraine. NATO said, sorry, I beg your pardon? What happened?
Yeah,
what are you doing?
Yes, yes.
And then the relationship started to deteriorate, of course, naturally. But I'm sorry, NATO did not ask Finland or Sweden to join NATO. NATO did not ask before that, like Lithuania, Estonia, Latvia, or the former Warsaw Pact countries to join. NATO did not raise the issue. They knocked the door. Please, please, because we want to feel safe.
Yes, yes.
We want to feel safe. If we are on our own, we'll be destroyed by Russian military machine in no time. But if we are together, we can resist. That was the point of NATO. So, if really Russian concern was NATO, then they would not do stupid things that will cause even Finland and Sweden. Sweden was like neutral for 200 and something years.
Yes.
And they still say, oh no, not now.
Scare.
Come on.
Fear.
So who will believe anyone like anyone would say that, oh, Russia was so concerned about expanding NATO, but now they have the result. Finland, Sweden, Georgia, Moldova, Ukraine is like doing all possible and impossible to join. So does it make sense? No, it doesn't. It doesn't make any sense.
Nah, ini menarik juga nih. Beliau ini, kalau saya bilang sih ya, dari beberapa dubes, seorang dubes yang bisa dikontak langsung lewat WA-nya. Dia tuh datang sini sendirian, tidak diantar sama stafnya. Kalau dubes-dubes lain biasanya kan dengan staf gitu. Dia datang sendiri, datang ke kantor, dan yang menarik adalah dia membawa ini nih. I want you to, sorry Vasyl, dia memberi kita sebuah kalender, ya. Kalender. Mungkin teman-teman tahu ini, kalau bacanya pasti nggak tahu ya. Tapi kalau lihat wajahnya mungkin teman-teman tahu. Beliau ini Hairil Anwar.
Hairil Anwar.
Kenapa Hairil Anwar? Nah, kita cerita.
Satu abad.
Why you choose Hairil Anwar?
Well, by the way, 2 years ago we celebrated 100 Satu Abad of Hairil Anwar in Ukraine too, and
Ukraine, you celebrate in Ukraine.
Yes. So to celebrate Hairil Anwar's birthday, we arranged a lot of events. It's like we translated poetry. Like the most famous, I think, that we translated many, but one of the most famous is like Aku Ini Binatang Jalan, and Kerawang Bekasi,
and then here,
and Diponegoro. Yeah. So these three posters, three calendars were made with the three poems, but we translated much more.
Yeah.
And we had the events, couple of events. So we invited the then ambassador in Ukraine, Yuri Krishnandi, and the embassy staff. So they were like good celebration of the prominent. Why him? He was one, in my opinion, he was one of the most passionate warriors for freedom. He was one of the most inspiring poets in this era. He was one of the strongest, strongest spiritually, a man with the strongest spirit at that time. So this is something we need now in Ukraine. This is something we feel deep in our hearts. We need this spirit, we have this spirit. And we feel that it's like,
you can relate.
We can feel it from the. When I read Kerawang Bekasi in translation to the soldiers at that time, even before the big war, they were crying. Say, that's what we feel now, because what they say, you died young.
Yeah.
We died young. Kami mati muda. Kami mati muda. But remember us.
Yeah.
Remember. Because it's our bones that are like spread everywhere from Kerawang to Bekasi.
Very strong message.
When I read it, it's very strong message.
Very
and when I read it, it's like you feel shivering because
Me too.
and people so that's it.
Yeah.
That's basically it. We have.
So he quite famous in Ukraine.
Okay, he was not that famous, but we made him famous. And actually, we have the nameplate of Harian made in stone, and now it's in one of the streets in one of the towns in Ukraine. So when the opening ceremony, and I have
They
the
put
photo
the
there,
name of the street,
made of stone, and
Harian.
it's Aku poetry and his portrait.
Yeah, because
So
the lyrics is very universal language.
Yeah.
I mean, many countries can relate. It's universal. So that's why.
It's maybe
Everyone-
related to
because
him.
these people like Harian, people like Diponegoro, people like General Sudirman, people like many heroes, pahlawan Indonesia. They don't just belong to Indonesia. They belong to the humankind,
Yes.
to the history, to the humanity. We should remember them. Why would we remember, I don't know, Jawaharlal Nehru? Why would we remember Mahatma Gandhi? Why would we remember Bung Karno? Why would we remember Bung Tomo and Surabaya speech, Pidato Surabaya? Why would we remember Merdeka atau Mati?
Yes.
Because this is universal.
Yes.
This is universal values, and this is something that can inspire people from other nations across the globe.
Yes.
This is so important for us, and that's why we read the literature of other countries, we read the poetry, we read the biographies of the heroes from other countries. We remember them. Spartacus from the Rome and etc. So we remember them. It makes sense for me.
How about Russian literature? Because there are so many good Russian literature, like Leo Tolstoy. Even he speaks also about humanity. Nikolai Gogol.
Gogol is Ukrainian.
It's Ukrainian.
He could not even speak proper Russian.
But the Russia
Ukrainian.
claim.
Russia claim everything.
Like
No. Listen to Russians. They claim everything.
Oh, I see.
They are the best. They are chosen by God. They are God-blessed nations. They are like best literature, best music, best scientists. But if we check, we'll find out that all those people they
Ukraine.
claim not just Ukrainian. They come from
Russian.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And many like poets, composers, writers, artists are not Russian at all. They've stolen the fame, but it doesn't make them Russian, right? But I would not criticize Tolstoy, whatever it is, but what I want to draw your attention to, they're so proud of Russian literature and poetry, art, music, science.
Yes.
But don't forget that, if I start naming you the people whom they killed or imprisoned or tortured or destroyed or just kicked off Russia, it will take hours and hours and hours. Many poets were just imprisoned and killed. Theater, music, literature. Dostoevsky was nearly, remember this, he was sentenced to death. Tolstoy was declared out of church. He was anathematic, right? So church say, you don't belong to our church, blah, blah, blah. Many. Like Sikorsky ran to America because he couldn't. Korolev, the guy, Ukrainian guy who was the...
He's Ukrainian.
Zhytomyr from Ukraine. who was like a father of this space program. They put him into the camps, into these gulag camps, and then he was nearly dead. And then they found him and say, we need to start the space program because Americans did. So they brought him back. But he was like broken hands, like tortured and things. They don't mention it,
Yeah.
They don't mention it. And then what? So Russians love to say how great is Russian culture, but they don't mention it that most of the greatest people were killed and tortured by Russian, by the system.
Yeah.
Yeah? And they become really like, wow, after they are dead. But not when they were alive.
It's
like in Indonesia.
Unfortunately.
Pramudian
Yeah.
korban-korban politik.
But well,
I think
it's true.
in every country such thing also happen. It's like in my country.
We didn't have it in Ukraine. Honestly, we don't. We're so different, so different. I just trying to find psychologically and ideologically any similarities between a state of mind, between philosophy, ideology, and I cannot find anything in common with Russia. Honestly, it's not that and I have been trying to do this to find it long time ago, even long before 2014, long time ago. Even when I was a schoolboy, or was a teenager, I was thinking, why we're so different? Like, I was Ukrainian, I identified myself as Ukrainian always. And I said, why are they so different from us? They look a bit same, but they behave very differently, and everything is different. So there was a surprise. And yeah.
How about the figure central, like in Russia, Putin? Some rumor, like that he already died, or so like how it will have impact to the war and the geopolitics of the war.
It's a conspirology, right? So I'm not following the conspirological theories that whether he dead or not. Maybe he's dead. People say he died like 10 years ago. Some people say he died 2 months ago. They prove this and this. Just couple of things. First, important things. Recently, the researchers, I forgot, Japan and then the UK, they used the artificial intelligence AI to analyze the appearance of Putin here, and many. And they say, okay, it's at least 3 different people. So
Sure.
it's not me, it's artificial intelligence. They are different. Voice, face, ears, movement, height, all different. All different. Similar but different.
But different.
Yeah.
There's
That's one thing.
slightly different.
And second, very important thing, Putin is just one guy who will be useless without the great support from the system and from the people.
Yeah.
I don't blame Putin for all this. I blame the Russian people for this. Because when you go into the publics, into the social media, any attack on Ukrainian cities, any attack on the residentials, on maternity houses, and report of many korban, many people died, many people killed, women, children. Look at the social media in Russia and say, oh, well done, let's do it again. They deserved it, Ukrainians, kill them all. Please, it's not Putin, it's people. Just masyarakat.
The buzzers, maybe we call it.
No,
the buzzers. This is
they're just a
of
Why
common
they really
people.
love Putin?
And I see many. Well, because it's my job. I try to understand what's going on. So sometimes I look into the interviews made on the streets of Russia and just ask any people, what do you think about the war and things? They say, I'm against the war, but you know what? We should have started this war 10 years ago, not now. It's too late now. Now we should stop it because our country is suffering. But we should have killed these Ukrainians, blah, blah, blah. That's what they say. Common people from the street. Yeah? So it's not about Putin.
It's propaganda, maybe.
Even if he's dead,
It's been brainwashed.
doesn't matter because now it could be, I don't know who, maybe some council that's ruling the country now, Russia, without Putin. Could
Maybe,
be.
yeah.
Nobody knows. But it's not important again.
Like
It's
big,
not-
Big Brother.
Putin is not a leader.
The
He's just
system,
embodiment of this system. And they created this image of Putin as macho, so real strong, and da-da-da. But in fact, he's not.
it's very strange,
So
the people.
whether he's dead or whether he's alive, it doesn't make
doesn't
big
matter.
difference.
Yes.
Because
Yeah.
we have something special for you.
Oh. No, but I really like this one. This really, yeah.
Yeah, you can try it here.
Oh my God. It looks enak.
This is called seblak.
Seblak.
It's from
Is it?
kerupuk apa?
Kerupuk.
From crackers,
Yeah, kerupuk and
Crackers, and then
you
use
boil
egg, and
Is it
then
hot?
some
Oh, it's hot. Okay.
some spicy, some
Spice.
Yeah.
spice. Would you try?
Yes.
But I think you already tried before, seblak.
No,
The crackers
I don't think so.
boil and put some herbs.
I don't
I hope
think
it's
so.
not too spicy for you.
In 2 years, I could not find spicy enough
Why?
in Indonesia. Just not,
Really?
not much spicy enough.
It's
So
very
you-
sensitive. There's usually from abroad, it
It's not
doesn't.
spicy at all.
Oh my god. So I think.
Level berapa ini?
Level 3.
Level 3.
Oh, oke.
Level 3 teh sudah pedas.
Cabai berapa tuh?
Sedang sih, sedang.
Sedang.
Oh,
Oh,
iya, iya.
kurang pedas katanya.
Absolutely
She
not.
said it's a moderate one. That's why you.
Yeah, it's moderate. So when I really need pedas, I think I only go to
Level 10,
Chinese
level 5.
cuisine. I can find like in Hunan,
Hunan ya.
I can find something really
Really
pedas.
spicy.
Yeah. Sichuan is Sichuan.
Sichuan not so spicy, no. Not enough.
Hunan is very
Hunan is
spicy.
spicy.
Wow.
Hunan Hubei.
Mana yang level
In here,
paling tinggi
tried-
mana ini?
People say, okay, try Manado food. I tried.
Oh,
Not enough
that's very
spicy.
spicy, rica. No, for you it's not spicy.
Not enough.
Not enough. Oh my
Spicy. I mean, I really want something that say, yeah, spicy. But no, this is not enough spicy. It's just spicy. okay.
Kurang lada. Ini jarang-jarang ada
sedikit
orang bule
pedas.
resep lada.
You get used to the spicy thing because when you become, I mean, after you move to Indonesia or before you like spicy food?
I don't know. My family, my late father was very much in fond of spicy.
Oh.
So we had this, in the windowsill, we have this small, what do you say?
Cabai.
Chili?
Pepper?
Chili.
Red hot chili pepper?
Yeah.
Very, very hot, very, very red, very, very small.
Jalapeno?
Like crazy. And my father used to eat like...
It's only on Ukraine.
No, it's everywhere.
Maybe you
But it's really small red hot chili pepper. And he says, eating soup, now 1 spoon, 1 bite. 1 spoon, 1 bite. Oh, since then I really loved spicy food, and sometimes I do really.
She said it's very spicy.
Right.
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 Let's
Think
try.
this? This is very spicy.
You think? No.
This is even less spicy than this.
Kurang pedas kan?
It's macaroni.
You eat them like this?
I think in
Yeah.
Italy, in Europe, you put as a pasta.
Yeah, it's pasta.
But here, we
We
are
fried
creative.
them and then.
We modify.
So you've been in Indonesia since 2022, 2021.
2021.
2 years.
Have you come home to Ukraine?
Yes. Few times. The first time was, by the way, when Pak Joko Widodo visited Ukraine.
Oh, I see.
yeah.
You know, in 29 of June 2022. So it was big delegation. Presiden Indonesia dan Ibu Negara dan Bu Retno, many people. So the big visit to Ukraine, just 1 day, but still. And I was so proud of your president, really. No, honestly,
Yeah.
it's very heroic
Yeah.
visit.
Yeah, even you said you're a bit disappointed because the Ukraine was not mentioned. But what do you think about the Indonesian effort to Ukraine so far?
I would say it this way. I always repeat this. If we want to resolve any problem, we need to have first a plan. Second, we need to have a plan B. And third, we need to have plan C. And fourth, we need to follow the plan. We need to do, not just discuss.
Yeah, yes. First
So,
thing is, yeah.
We really expect and expected and do expect now that there will be some actions taken by. It does.
Feels spicy.
Really? Oh my God. Okay. We really expect some actions to be taken. For example, as you remember, during the G20 summit in Bali, my president presented the peace formula, 10 points, which 100% built on the UN Charter. So it's like within the framework of the UN Charter, yeah? 10 points. Food security, nuclear safety, energy security, ecology, blah, blah, blah. Many. 10 points. And now the peace formula has transformed into the international platform. So the global south is all involved into this process already, but not Indonesia. I don't know the reason why, but first meeting took place in Copenhagen, 15 countries. Second meeting in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia, 42 countries. Third meeting took place quite recently in Valletta in Malta, 66 countries. Next meeting due in Davos, 14th of January, Davos. We expect more than 70 countries. And definitely including like Brazil, Argentina, South Africa, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Turkey, Emirates, etc. From ASEAN, we have Thailand participating, but not Indonesia. Japan, Korea, India, and I don't have Mexico, of course. Yeah, I'm not mentioning Europe and the US, Canada, Australia, of course. Yeah, over 70 countries, and this is about doing something. This is about the actions. This is about, and people just discuss how to put the end, not just to Ukrainian war, to the war of Russia against Ukraine, but this could be universal mechanism of putting the end to any war or conflict, any. Moreover, it can be used as a tool to prevent the wars and conflicts. That's the point. Really? Maybe I didn't try it correctly, but I don't know. Yeah, so you see, I remember many cases in the world diplomacy, but one case I remember was the I think it was Ali Alatas at that time, a Cambodian case.
Yes.
Yeah. So when the necessity arose to deal with this case, he created the working group task force, and he was flying like every week or every 2 weeks.
That's why Cambodia really thankful.
And they came to the final point. And this is, that's what I mean.
So Indonesia should do
Action
this.
should be taken.
Yes.
Yeah.
Only having taken the actions, you should resolve like complicated issues, right?
Maybe for your closing statements to our audience, you can.
What should I do? Sorry.
For global nation, and also your hope for Indonesian and Ukrainian bilateral relationship.
My hope is very simple. Ukraine now is at war. Indonesia is a very influential country, not just in the region, but also in the world. Indonesia was a chairman in G20, was presiding in G20, and then in ASEAN. And I would say, I don't think I will be exaggerating to say that Indonesia can be a real global player if Indonesia wants to. In bilaterals, I would see the very bright perspectives, but again, it would depend on the willingness of our governments, willingness of our parliaments, willingness of our businesses to talk, to discuss, to cooperate. I am absolutely clear that you are preparing for a great event in your history, in your country. It will be the elections when you will have the new president, new parliament, new local governments. Yeah, so there will be changes.
Yes.
Of course, certainly, because this is democracy, right?
Yeah.
So the whole country is like preparing for this process. Some people preparing to vote, some people preparing to participate, and preparing to win. Yeah, in this. So after the inauguration of a new president, of a new parliament, of new government, I have a handful of projects, a handful of proposals. So Actually, I'm planning to present them earlier, before the inauguration, if I can. So, and then after the inauguration, I think that we will start quite a few projects. We'll start to develop our relations on various directions, on different spheres. We have potential for this even now.
Yeah.
And Indonesia, of course, has a potential and resources, as well as Ukraine. I mean, we are, I would say, young democracies, to be honest.
Yes.
Both Ukraine and Indonesia, we are young democracies. And we are developing countries, and we are countries that have a huge potential to develop not just national economies, but the bilateral trade and investments and technological exchange. Yeah, so like transfer of technology. We can do this. We can do anything. I mean, we are now, to be honest, on a zero ground.
Yeah.
So we are now can start from the scratch. We can, and it will be like, it will be. I would anticipate a big cooperation, which only requires some goodwill.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course.
That's it.
Some good.
I look very confidently into this future of our bilateral relations, and I think that Indonesia is, well, it's a great democratic power that can improve a lot with the assistance of the other countries in the world, including Ukraine. We can assist in many things, like education. We can bring some new instruments, some new things. Like technology, we still can bring some technologies that will help Indonesia to develop this or this spheres, etc. Yeah, so
We look forward for
I'm
that.
very positive, and I'm very optimistic about that.
Oh,
yes, right.
Thank you very much, Mr. Vasyl. Kita mau ngabisin ini dulu yang pedas-pedas nih. Kayaknya beliau senang-senang yang pedas. Teman-teman Sobat PR, terima kasih atas waktunya. Terima kasih. Thank you, Mr. Vasyl. Vasyl ya.
Hatur nuhun.
Hatur nuhun. Selamat siang, sore. Selamat sore ya.
Sore.
Sore.
Ya.
Betul. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Oh, kita mau ada merchandise for you.
Oh yeah, thank you. Oh, pikiran rakyat. No, this way.
I see. Oke, kita ngobrol di PR.